BMW has launched not one but two cars this Bharat Mobility Global Expo 2025. The biggest surprise was this iX1 long wheelbase. Then of course they also have their popular SUV BMW X3 that got launched. So now let me talk more about it with Mr. Vikram Pawah. Thank you, Mr. Vikram, for joining us today.
Thank you, Mugdha.
So this iX1 long wheelbase was a surprise. I drove the iX1 and it was quite a fun car.
Yes.
Now with this long wheelbase, do you think there was a demand for it?
Yes, absolutely. I think we did a lot of research about the Indian consumer, and especially what I call as the new generation in terms of not age, but in terms of mindset and attitude and approach to life, right? And that's what I call the new Bharat customer, right? So new Bharat customer, when we asked them, what are you looking for mobility solution? They were very clear that we want it all. Right? We don't want a compromise thing. And currently, when I look at, when they look at the landscape of what cars they can choose in, I'm not saying premium or non-premium, across the industry, they feel they're compromising one thing or the other. Okay, because they can afford, good value cars, absolutely. So then they came up with a list that we want a car that's comfortable, that's spacious for the entire family. It should be having the road presence that gives me the confidence. It should have the ground clearance that I can tackle the infrastructure in India. It should be having the performance that I want, because sometimes I drive, sometimes I sit at the back, but it should be efficient, right? It should not be, burning a hole into my pocket. So it should be easy to maintain, easy to run, and reasonable to run the car in terms of running cost, and also it should be environment friendly and sustainable.
So has the range also gone up? Because
yes,
now you
absolutely.
would be, I'm assuming you are putting in a bigger
battery pack. So
yeah.
this goes up to 531 kilometers,
right,
based on Indian driving conditions, not based on WLTP. So based on MIDC, what we call as the driving cycle, it goes up to 531 kilometers. So really happy that we can provide this entire solution to our customers. And I know I've met so many customers over the years since I've been working in India, right, and I asked them, what's stopping you from migrating to luxury? And always they'll say one thing is missing or the other is missing. And now we come up with, okay, it's got everything at a grace value point, which is 49 lakhs, right? You can absolutely afford it. So I'm really waiting for them to hear, like I said yesterday, that, yeah, that's my first BMW I would buy.
And you're manufacturing this in India?
It is made in India. That's the icing on the cake, absolutely. Yeah. Made in India, for India. Only country in the world that has got a right-hand drive version of it.
Oh, okay. With iX1 and iX1 long wheelbase, what are your expectations for sales?
So I think iX1 exists only in long wheelbase now.
Yeah.
The X1, the traditional engine will be available in short wheelbase, but the electric version is only long wheelbase.
All right.
Clearly, so that now people can absolutely choose that if they want a small, compact, entry-level SUV in a traditional engine, you got the X1 in petrol and diesel. You're looking for something as a family car for daily usage, right, and more versatile and meets every requirement at a reasonable running cost. iX1 long wheelbase electric is your choice then.
So will X1 also come with long wheelbase at some point?
At the moment, we don't see demand, like I said, because there's all this list of things that people said they want, including reasonable running cost, and electric is 85% cheaper to run, right? So that fits the bill. I mean, if customers say tomorrow that I'm okay for a petrol version of a long wheelbase, of course we'll look at it. But at the moment, our research shows that people are looking at this format in a long wheelbase than traditional engine.
And what about X3? Well, X3 is one of your most popular SUVs, right? It gets you great numbers. So what is your expectation from X3? Because X3, I have a point to make here. X3's look has changed drastically.
It has.
What are your expectations?
So X3 was a segment-defining car when we launched it 4 generations ago, right? I mean, it defined what we call the mid SUV segment, right? And I think when we introduced the X-Drive for the first time, which is synonymous of X cars in BMW, the X-Drive first came in X3. So that's the pedigree of X3 really. We had a missing product offering last couple of years. We didn't have the petrol engine in the previous generation, so now we have both petrol and diesel. And you're right, the size has changed, the shape has changed. It's got the iconic kidney grille as well, which is coming for the first time in the mid-size segment now. It was always used to be in the high-end segment, so it's in the mid-size segment. So when you look at that car, I mean, you absolutely fall in love with it. It's got an interior which is again futuristic.
Yeah.
It's something totally departing from our previous generation X3. It is minimalistic, modern, but clearly super luxurious as well. So I'm sure great feedback on that car. And I think you drove this one in Munich, if I remember. Yeah?
I did. I thoroughly enjoyed
Absolutely,
myself. It was
yeah.
quite quick and fun to drive.
Absolutely.
Though it reminds me of a little bit of that game that you have, that Angry Bird. That reminds me of that, and I said that in my review as
You
well.
did, absolutely. But again, it's supposed to be polarizing. Designs are supposed to be polarizing, right? Either you love them or you hate them.
There was a reason that the designer explained to us that the cuts and creases have to be reduced to give better aerodynamics, and BMW is adopting this
It's
no
all about
monolithic.
efficiency, driving dynamics. So you have to do all those kind of things to adapt to that. And I think once you look at it as a package again, right? I mean, car is a package. So once you look at that, the way this car performs is much beyond the previous generation, absolutely.
Okay.
In an efficient way.
Okay, so now let me understand, how is your portfolio looking like right now? How much petrol, diesel, and electric?
EVs.
Yeah.
So 2024, it was 60% petrol, 30% diesel, and 10% EVs on a group level. So quite a good mix, you can see that. But with the launch of this one, I'm expecting the EV will go up slightly, of course, because that's the entry level offering that we have. So EV should go up. But I think this will actually increase the market for us. The segment has always been small, and you heard me say that I want to own that segment once we grow that segment. So now we're on the path of growing the segment. So even if EV grows, the overall numbers should still grow. That's my expectation.
And how was your last year EV penetration in your portfolio?
So 10%, like I said, overall as a portfolio was 10%, which is quite solid. But again, a big caution to all the listeners and viewers as well is that be very careful. Don't look at the total industry or total volume penetration, because we might get misled. Because once you have EV at every price point, then it is right to do that.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't have EV at every price point, it will look misleading to you. So I look at it at what price point do you have a EV, and then what is the penetration at that price point. So if I look at i7, which is my biggest selling EV in 2024, if I look at i7 sales amongst the total 7 Series sales, the penetration is 30%.
Okay.
Which we saw in iX as well in 2023, if you remember.
Yeah.
It was 35% at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, I expect this to behave similar way, right? So please compare it at a price point so that I think people get this education that it's actually the penetration of EVs in India is very, very good. Much better than the rest of the world, actually.
I want to understand, Maruti, which is the mass market player and our biggest market leader in the country. They have launched their EV car, and they also have a big plan of network of expansion of EV charging infra. So do you think that will help your segment as well?
I think anybody coming into the EV space and contributing towards that will absolutely grow the EV sales in the country. I always say that this kind of a competition is really, really good, because if all of us work in one direction in creating markets which are good for the country, and we know EV is the agenda of the government of India. I mean, we heard Modi ji say yesterday as well that we need to progress into that carbon neutral footprint. Mr. Piyush Goyal talks about it all the time. Mr. Nitin Gadkari is absolutely vocal about it, that we have to move towards the EV. So if all of us move towards that, I think it will create an ecosystem which all of us can share. But I'm happy that at least we started this trend 3 years ago. I think even before the mass market, I'm really, really happy to see that finally today's launches are more EV than anything else. Whereas when we launched 3 years ago, everybody was questioning, why have you got 3 EVs in your portfolio suddenly? But we still have the largest portfolio of 6 cars and 2 scooters. So
Let's talk a little bit about performance, M brand.
Of course.
How has the performance been of the M brand, and what are your expectations going ahead?
Performance, absolutely solid performance. I think M340i still happens to be the best-selling performance car made in India, absolutely till date. I think we crossed great milestones with that. Overall, M sales have been growing 20-30% every year for us. So that's really good. And only a couple of weeks ago, we launched the M5. I think we saw you at the track at that time as well. So the M5, where people were again questioning, hybrid technology, have we done the right thing? And the moment we offered it for drive with a pure V8 along with it, people said, yep, you got it right. And you got the pricing right as well. So yeah, M sales are growing. Of course, smaller in proportion of our total sales. So they are roughly around 8% of our sales, roughly, or 6% of our sales. So long way to go there.
Car culture in India is is growing. You can see from all the buzz and excitement.
Look at this! Look at this around here, right?
Yeah. But is the performance segment also showing great promise?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, more and more people want performance cars because I think as we mature as drivers, right, we want the fun, and BMW has been always providing that joy and fun or sheer driving pleasure. So, I mean, I still get demand. I remember when I had a M-Town maybe 6-7 years ago, the first thing people asked me is, when are you going to get a manual?
Yeah.
And that's why we brought the M2 manual, and it's done fantastically well. So you can see that passion exists in India. I think as the infrastructure evolves more and more, people have more places to drive cars, this will only grow. That's quite evident.
Now, I want to understand your localization plans.
Localization, so M340i is locally produced.
Yeah,
That's
but at a brand level, at a group level, actually.
At a group level, I think. See, again, those pure M cars, what you call M performance cars, right? I mean, the engines are produced in M Germany, right, in a factory in Germany, so they cannot be localized because they're special engines that are built in a special factory in limited quantity. So I think those ones will always remain until India becomes a huge market like the US tomorrow, with a huge M content in there. Then, of course, we can look at it. Still far away for that.
Yeah, but I want to understand your overall localization.
Well, localization, I mean, 95% of what we sell is localized.
Yeah.
95% of what we sell in India is localized.
And on parts and components?
So 50% localization component.
Do you intend to increase it any further?
It's increasing with time. It's increasing with time, but again, depends on the technology, right? For example, EV slightly lesser, petrol and diesel slightly higher, but yeah, every time we see the volume grow at a threshold, we localize more and more.
So from here on, one question that I have about EVs, people generally are a little worried about the resale value. What are your customers?
We have a solution. We have absolute solution. Let's take the example of this latest EV, the iX1 long wheelbase that we launched, right? And you're right. People say that EV is new technology. What's going to happen? Will the resale drop? Maybe I'll get caught. Okay, don't worry about it. We have a great smart finance program for you. First, you choose how much down payment you want to do. So you choose how much finance you want to do. You also choose your repayments, your bullet repayments, right? So a lot of people are into salary job where they get bonuses, right? So they prefer a lower EMI on a monthly basis, but they're happy to pay, let's say, 1.5 lakh as a bonus payment in the year, right? So they need to pay, let's say you take an EV for 4 years from us. We will agree on the resale value right now when you buy it. Absolutely transparent, right? What will be your resale value of this car after 4 years when you come back to us? That's the value, okay? So that you're rest assured that if the prices go down in the market, all you need to do is come and return the car to us. No questions asked, right? If the prices go up, you have the option to go and sell it yourself and pay us the amount that we agreed on, and you made the profit there. Or if you want to keep the car, you can keep it as well. So you have all the options open. So we're taking that doubt away from people's mind that we give you the flexibility depending on usage. Please go ahead and decide. And that's what we're seeing. A lot of people are buying it under that plan now, all the EVs. I think around 60-70% of people buying EVs under that plan of assured buyback.
One last question.
Sure.
Dollar has increased a lot compared to rupee. How has that impacted? We saw you taking a price rise in the beginning of the year. Is that impacting your business?
So sometimes we do get lucky. Luckily, we are impacted more by the euro, not by the dollar. So being a German company, I think we are slightly on the luckier side that it hasn't impacted us so much. But of course, the euro and the Indian rupee also depreciation happened over the years. So that's the reason we have done the price increase along with the input cost that has gone up. But I think we should be okay if things remain the way they are. We should be okay with the price increase that we have done at the moment. But let's see how the year pans out.
All right, Vikram, thank you so much for
Thank you, Mumta. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Right.